Okay, guys, so we've been doing a lot of time travel to the past, but I would like to propose that we go to the future now. We've been to the 2010s, we've been to the 90s, 2000s, and all that jazz. We even went back to Jack Parsons in like the 1800s. So let's go to the future. How far do you guys want to go?
Let's go 2 days in the future.
A little more than that.
I'm a little bit hungry, so I want to go 2 hours in the future when it's dinner time.
Okay, how about we go to 2077?
Cyberpunk.
Whoa.
Cyberpunk reference.
I definitely won't be hungry then.
Okay, so we're in 2077.
Whoa.
What does the future you guys landed in look like? Because I don't see you. I think you went to a different future.
Keanu Reeves is here, and he has a robot arm.
How is Keanu Reeves still alive?
Okay. Oh my goodness. Okay, so you're in Cyberpunk?
Cyberpunk 2077, like
Oh
you
my
just
gosh.
said, Lexi. Yes.
That's scary. I'm in a future that's got flying cars like the Jetsons. Like I see
Whoa.
like a
Lexi, that's the
robo-made.
1950s. What are you talking about? They had that back then.
We went back in time after all.
How do you know that? Hello, everybody! Your favorite time cowboys and cowgirl are back for another episode of How Could You Forget? A podcast
This bit.
where we discuss things you might have forgotten about, never heard about, or are simply too good to forget. As Gurdon kind of spoiled, we're gonna be
I
talking
didn't mean to spoil it, actually.
a little bit. No, you actually kind of segued pretty well into it.
All right, I did it on purpose then.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
I'm so
Yeah.
sorry. I'm so sorry.
So I wanted to bring that up because that's what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be talking about retrofuturism. And I'm glad that you mentioned, Gurdon, that when I said, oh, the Jetsons and flying cars, you're like, that was the 1950s, because that's exactly the premise that we're going to get to with today's topic. So I wanted to talk about this topic because I have already discussed the atomic era or the atomic age, nuclear age. We talked about Fallout, as well as I mentioned Disneyland in a past episode. And we also discussed Jack Parsons last week, or last episode, I should say.
Jack Parsnip.
My mom loves that episode, by the way. She did listen to it and reached out to me.
Good. It's so good. I'm so grateful for her suggestion because it also spawned my topic for today. So it's the gift that keeps on giving. So we discussed Jack Parsons, and we also referenced some of his inspiration / people he met, such as Ray Bradbury. He met Ray Bradbury when Ray Bradbury was like 12 or 13 or something crazy like that. I believe we also kind of talked about Jules Verne and like L. Ron Hubbard's connection to like sci-fi and stuff like that. So it spurred a topic of interest of mine, which is the common thread of retrofuturism. So I'm obsessed with retrofuturism. It's one of my favorite things. I find it extremely interesting. Most people know it as an aesthetic, but it does have a lot of deeper meanings than just looking cool or having stylistic features. So do you guys know what retrofuturism is, or what are some examples of retrofuturism?
The Jetsons.
I mean, I was about to say, Garen brought up a good
Spoilers,
example.
yeah.
There. It's actually really, I'm excited to learn more, actually, because I always kind of viewed it as a bit of an aesthetic, but I guess there also is the angle of, like, it's more, like, it's meant to more represent what we thought we were going to do in the future, or, like, what it might look like based on the notions and current trajectories of technology and aesthetics at the time, which, obviously, not all of that has come to fruition now, but that's kind of my understanding of it, is that on top of the aesthetic layer, it's a hopeful kind of vibe that existed back in the 50s.
Yeah, that's a very good description.
Dang,
What
yeah.
about what you,
Thanks,
Gurdon?
I try.
Or did
I
Cam
was
steal
going
your
to just
words?
say the Jetsons one more time for
Wow, the rule of threes. The joke's
yeah.
funniest the third time.
Exactly.
Very riveting commentary.
But besides the Jetsons, I was also going to mention that, because we talked about it as well, a Fallout: A New Life, of that very like Fallout-esque architecture and stuff like that, how the cars are very big-winged and very colorful and stuff like that, kind of. At least I would assume. So maybe
Yes.
Lexi can lead me. Okay.
Yeah, that's correct, and we'll get a little bit more into that. So yeah, you guys have a pretty
We're pretty
surface level. Yeah, true. Yes. You got a pretty good surface level, like right off the rip thing of retrofuturism. And that's what I think most people think of as something like Fallout or something like, oh, these stylistic choices, Jetsons, and, the cool looking Sputnik lamps and things like that. A lot of people, would categorize it as retrofuturism in design, and that's correct. So I'm going to read the definition straight from Wikipedia about retrofuturism because it's very concise, it sums it up, and my brain is mush, so I don't think I could do any better than this. This is a fantastic description. So from Wikipedia, quote, retrofuturism builds on ideas of futurism, but the latter term functions differently in several contexts. In avant-garde artistic, literary, and design circles, futurism is a long-standing and well-established term. But in its more popular form, futurism, which is sometimes referred to as futurology, it's a very cool word, by the way, is, quote, an early optimism that focused on the past and was rooted in the 19th century and early 20th century golden age that continued long into the 1960s space age, end quote. So that is the way, way high level definition of retrofuturism as a concept. And then I really like this other piece that the Wikipedia page said as well. Quote, retrofuturism incorporates two overlapping trends which may be summarized as the future as seen from the past and the past as seen from the future.
Okay.
So
I like that.
Chew on that for a
Me and Garen
minute.
have the exact same reaction.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's almost like this is an interesting idea and topic. Who would have thought about that?
Interesting topics on this podcast, dude.
Never. When have we ever? done that?
So we got some hits and misses, so it's okay.
Okay.
But I thought that was really interesting because I guess I never really thought about retrofuturism like that because we are living in the year 2026 and even, in the 2000s, 2010s, whenever like these things kind of came around. I mean, even we'll talk about the 80s as well. You're looking back because you are now in what was the future to those people at the time. And then you're looking back at it. But just as we sit here now in 2026 and we can say, oh my gosh, 2077, what's that going to be like? And then finally, when people get to 2077 and they see all this media that was made that has to do with 2077, and they're going to be like, that is nowhere close.
Can I make a very quick similar thing to that, basically?
Yeah.
This is because I'm such a gamer nerd and I'm a completionist. I've gone back and I've been trying to finish off the hit video game Call of Duty Black Ops 2 and get the achievements, which were mostly the story that I didn't finish when I was younger. And all of the game that's supposed to be taking place in the future is 2025. And like in that game, there's like stealth suits that can turn you entirely invisible. And there's the closest thing about it is that there's autonomous drones that will like fly around. But like we didn't know that drone warfare would get to the way that it goes now of just like blowing people up. And so like I'm sitting here like fighting like little tiny drones that'll like shoot at you and stuff like this, and then giant fighting like mechs and stuff. So it's just very funny that, like you said, of people's perception of even things that are again from roughly 2011 2012 till 2025 was a huge jump. But when you add in like almost 100 years or 50 years, then people just go wild and they're like, we're just meeting aliens and stuff like that. So I just wanted to add in that quick little thing that like even the time difference of like 10 to 15 years and being like, wow, they thought this is what life would be like. Wow. So
yeah, I think that's
definitely
really interesting because there are elements to it that people get correct, right? Or they're pretty close. Like the drones and stuff like that. I mean, who would have thought in 2010 that, drones are being banned now because people are accustoming them to do war crimes. So it's pretty wild.
Dang, okay.
Which, America is weird anyway, so, take
Fair.
that with whatever you will. But I always think it's very interesting to look back and see what people thought, we would be doing, because there are some of it that is true, and that does come to fruition, or we use those little tidbits and build off of them. But then there's other elements where I'm like, I don't know how you even thought that would work, or like that would even be convenient for us to do. So it's very interesting. We'll get into a couple examples of that here soon, but I want to first dive into some of the what I would call subgenres or styles within the term retrofuturism. So this style is heavily influenced by science fiction and science fiction writers and media, which is what ultimately led me down this rabbit hole from last episode to now. So popular styles within retrofuturism. I'm sure you guys know some of these. I will give you examples of some of them. We'll discuss, but some of them it's going to be, oh, yeah, I know about that one. Other ones you're going to be like, what even is that? So
the orangutan style, yeah, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, hold on to that one.
Oh my goodness.
Ooh.
The monkey mode. We're going monkey mode.
Monkey mode.
Let's go.
The future is monkey. Popular styles within retrofuturism are cyberpunk, so we mentioned cyberpunk 2077, that sort of aesthetic. Steampunk, which borrows heavily from Jules Verne, which is a callback to last episode with Jack Parsons. Jules Verne, if you don't know who Jules Verne is, Around the World in 80 Days, Journey to the Center of the Earth, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, those very popular stories. That's Jules Verne, and Jules Verne is very steampunk kind of vibe.
Damn, nice.
We have diesel punk, which the best example of that is Mad Max. Diesel punk kind of centers around machines and specifically fossil fuels, so that's why it's called diesel punk. And then we have ray gun gothic, which is the best one that I could find of an example, which is of course very fitting, is actually Disneyland's Tomorrowland. A good example of that, and then I will find the picture of that really quick.
Yeah, hit me with it, because I don't think I can't recall it in my memory. I have a feeling it is a land designed to look like tomorrow.
Wow. Okay, here we go. This is the picture of Disneyland's Tomorrowland, and I don't know when this was from because they have changed it many a time, but this sort of style is ray gun gothic. And for those of you who are audio listeners, don't worry, we will describe it more in detail here in a little bit.
So there are a bunch of people and they are standing. I'm just joking.
So I will
Let's go full alt text with it.
Describe it a little bit more here in just a moment. So ray gun gothic is an interesting style because it is a blend of the googie style. That's Googie. Googie.
Googie.
That's not a real word.
It is. Gurdon, it's actually one of my favorite styles ever, so I know you have seen things that are Googie themed.
I love Googie.
Googie architecture is fantastic. For those of you who are audio listeners, I will not put up pictures, but if you've seen like drive-in type signs, the actual sign for Las Vegas is considered Googie style. A lot of starbursts, a lot of like angled things.
The candy.
Huh?
You said starburst.
Oh my goodness. No, the shape. The shape.
I wasn't serious. Sorry, continue.
So anyway, I'm sure you've seen some Googie styled things. It is
the word
also
Googie is so great. I'm sorry. It's so good. It's so good.
I'm so sorry. You just keep saying it. It's very humorous. I'm so sorry. I love it.
Yes, because I'm not done yet. Because ray gun gothic is a blend of 3 different styles. The first one I've already said 5 times.
Googie.
It's also a blend of the populux style. And that style is basically influenced a lot by car culture and consumer culture.
Okay.
So if you think of like the big winged cars, kind of like you mentioned earlier, Gurdon.
Yeah.
And the angled shapes, the chrome sort of a vibe, that is what populux is kind of based on. Surprisingly, on the Wikipedia page, it says, see the Brave Little Toaster novel.
Yo, I love Brave Little Toaster. Not the movie.
So I guess it says to see the novel. I guess the drawings in the novel are probably closer to this popular style, but it is similar to the movie. And then it is also a blend of Art Deco, which Art Deco has been around for a really long time. That one's pretty standard in architecture and style.
I thought you were just going to call it pretty, but yes.
No, it is pretty, yeah. But if you think of, I think the example here, they have the Chrysler Building in New York. A lot of New York style architecture is Art Deco. So again, not going to throw up a bunch of pictures because it's not going to help if you're listening via audio, but I'm sure by now you have seen some Art Deco pieces if you have ever been to a larger city, because it's a very popular.
If you want to imagine the Great Gatsby, that's basically Art Deco,
yes.
right?
Mm-hmm.
I was going to say, I do know that like novel cover and like all the architecture in the film and such is very Art Deco-y.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It was huge in the 1910s, 20s, even into the 30s. Old Hollywood was very Art Deco in nature as well. So that is Ray Gun Gothic, is a blend of those three styles. I'm not saying the word again.
No, she's not letting me go googie mode.
Once you googie, you can never ungoogie.
Yeah, true. You can never googie.
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 Oh my gosh. Okay.
Oh Lord.
Anyway, I had a point here.
We're doing a podcast. Oh, come on.
So those are some styles within the Retro Future label. Of course, we mentioned this at the top of the podcast. The Fallout games and the Tier B series are considered a blend of Ray Gun Gothic as well as Atompunk. Most people are probably familiar with steampunk, cyberpunk, and Atompunk. Those are probably the three most known under this banner of retrofuturism.
Atompunk.
True. And we talked about it a little bit earlier, but are you guys familiar with these styles? What is your favorite style out of this, or were you surprised by any of those?
I can't go ahead and go
Ray
first.
Gun Gothic, I was going to say. Yeah, I don't... Well, I mean, unfortunately, I don't know. See, the problem with me is the fact that like I learned about Art Deco, or I guess more specifically, I learned about the term Art Deco recently. Because when I first heard it brought up a few months ago, I was like, is that short for art decoration? Like, what are we talking about? Is that like a thing you do? No, but then I had told me, and it was like this style, and I was like, oh, that makes more sense. Okay. No, but I do like the aesthetic. I was gonna say, like, when I first saw this image for Tomorrowland, it almost gave me kind of a BioShock vibe, which I think is also another game kind of with a similar aesthetic to Fallout, where it's like definitely a big on the retrofuturist kind of Ray Gun Gothic vibe. Atompunk, I'm actually not entirely like, is that just like more of a focus on like the scientific aspect on like a molecular level, like with pictures of atoms and stuff like that? Because that is coming into my head.
It's definitely more integration of the actual atom itself, and then more of a lean towards like nuclear energy and things like that. So Fallout is very Atompunk sort of thing, because they, of course they drop the bombs in that game, and so there's a lot of discussion about nuclear energy and its potential and all that stuff. So
I guess Fallout would lean more into that, and then BioShock would lean more into like the sort of Ray Gun Art Deco leanings there. Yeah, okay.
Gotcha, okay. Yeah.
Gordon, what are your thoughts?
So I very much agree with Camp. Again, most of my influences for stuff like that are games and stuff like that. So again, like I loved playing BioShock 1, which was extremely Art Deco, mixed with, again, I forgot exactly what the terminology
I believe
for, like,
people
underwater.
have also said that they believe, when I was doing research, that they believe that BioShock, is that the one that where you have different like machines and things like that and vehicles?
There are different kind of machines and stuff that exist.
Because I think some people were saying there was some diesel punk influence in BioShock, but I don't know how true that is.
I mean, I could believe it. I haven't played BioShock in like a decade, so I don't know, unfortunately, off the top of my head.
I'm gonna say this, and don't nobody clip this. The big daddies, which are the major thing that you see whenever you like look up BioShock, or when people think of BioShock, are these people in these, they're people in these very large like deep sea diving suits. But but they're kind of gilded and a little bit more like less Scooby-Doo deep sea diver, more like
spooky.
Yeah, Lexi, if somebody wants to put up a photo of that, actually, because I don't know if Lexi has seen a Big Daddy from Fallout, that might help her decide.
Do you mean Bioshock?
Bioshock. Yes, I
Yes.
Noob.
I typed in Biochocolate instead of Bioshock. I'm just
Biochocolate. Okay, I've got one.
Yeah, this is the one that's on the
Underminer.
But that's the one that most people like. That's the main one you fight in the games, or usually this one with the giant drill.
Gremlin looking.
Yeah, but I think that's much more. You don't really get the Art Deco inspiration from the Bioshock Big Daddies, but it still definitely has kind of this grungy punks. Like Lexi, I think Lexi might be right, of diesel punk and or maybe some kind of steampunk-esque.
Yeah, there's definitely some like Jules Verne inspiration there. I don't know if it's quite steampunk, but yeah, I see that in that character of like the helmet and the like being underwater vibe.
Yeah. But I loved Bioshock. Very, very quick aside, if you couldn't tell, it's a very, very good game. But I really personally enjoy a lot more of the there's so much of those terms now. The Googie, yes, for the terms of Googie, but also just the see, it's funny to hear and say. But
well, you just said Googie for the sake of Googie. That was funny.
Yeah, but the ray gun aesthetic, again, as I just said earlier, even going back and playing like Call of Duty Black Ops 2, like there's literally a ray gun, and it's so funny because it stands out in the game, because again there will be like an AK-47 or this or this or this, and then there's a ray gun, and it's very, very funny and very much stands out because hey, it's a bright red gun that goes like pew pew pew. It makes these like futuristic sounds, and I feel like it's so funny that it can still fit into things like that and the aesthetic. And then whenever you get into more of the old style, like the big winged, there's a term that Lexi probably knows or could find, but the color of blue that so much of that time period was, like it's almost like the tealish cyan. Yes, exactly. That I love that just in general. Like that's probably one of my favorite colors, is actually that blue. And I think that really goes hand in hand with that 1950s. You'd have that mixed with like a little bit of a cherry or like a slightish red. I just really like that aesthetic and very much that time period as well, because we'll never get, and I don't think anybody our
that candy
age,
apple red color. Wow.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I don't think we'll ever get nostalgia for that, or even I don't think our parents technically had any nostalgia for that, but it is just such a unique style that whenever you see it, you go like, oh, that's 50s. Like you see Elvis, you think 50s. You see like a candy red car, or like again like big winged car or stuff like that, you go like, oh, this is supposed to be a reference to the 1950s and stuff like that. And maybe if we keep going circuitous with our time and our history, maybe when we hit the 2050s, there will be a big resurgence of very even more futuristic, actual applicable science to make the retrofuturism actual futurism, which would be really cool. But sorry, that was very long-winded, but just to say that I really like that ray gun gothic, as well as of course the Art Deco, are two very, very extremely gorgeous aesthetics to me.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I would it's really funny. I really thought there would be I really thought there would be some variation of like what your guys' favorite stuff was. I really thought at least one of you would say like, oh, the cyberpunk aesthetic and like all that stuff, because it's huge right now.
True. I mean, the cyberpunk aesthetic I do like as well. I just feel, I guess for me personally, I feel like we're sort of rapidly going towards a sort of cyberpunkish future with all the bad parts in it.
It's not comforting anymore. It's not like, wow, isn't this a crazy vision of the future? Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Too close to home. Too close to home.
It does look beautiful. Like Cyberpunk 2077 is a like a gorgeous game. I love it. Unless you're on PS4, but whatever. But you know,
well, that's just
it is a lovely looking game. Like isolating the aesthetic away from everything going on in the world, I think it is an awesome aesthetic that I love. Like the neon colors, the bright lights at night, and then like the open expanses in like the daytime and the vertical architecture. Like it's an awesome aesthetic as well. I like it.
The additional part of Cyberpunk that I really do like is just it doesn't even feel ham-fisted, but it is so overbearing, and it's in every single aspect of it, is also just Thing Japan is basically then like entirely integrated into cyberpunk, basically, of like the very, very neon, the Asian influences and stuff like that, of like, again, of course, in the game, like katanas are everywhere, like everybody's just like fighting with katanas, and there's like straight up ninjas and stuff like that. But like, I love the not even inclusion, but just the fascination of the Asian elements that is just straight, no, this is an important part. You can't have cyberpunk without like straight up like katanas and ninja swords and like laser swords and stuff like that. But that's just always funny to me.
You know, it makes a lot of sense, though, if like there are a lot of things that are wired that you would need like a sword or a katana to like fight people, because if they were able to build themselves with like metal that wouldn't be able to be pierced by guns or something, you might be able to actually like cut their wires or something. I guess, you know,
They should just make giant cyberpunk scissors so they can just cut directly through all the wires, Lexi.
Exactly.
Oh my goodness. That's goofy looking. But
goofy all looking.
Googie
looking cyberpunk scissors.
That's the podcast. How can you forget Googie?
No.
Aesthetics.
So, I wanted to weigh in and say that I think one of my favorites, other than the ray gun gothic, which is funny that you guys chose that one too. I really love Atompunk, and that's not surprising because I've talked about, like I said, the atomic age, talked about Fallout, all that stuff. But I want to dial in a bit more on Atompunk because A, it's my favorite, so I want to talk about it. And B, it's also the
podcast.
one that I think most people associate with the word retrofuturism, despite cyberpunk and steampunk being very popular. I think a lot of people think that that's their own thing. But when I think people think of retrofuturism, they're thinking of this Atompunk, ray gun gothic sort of style instead of cyberpunk or steampunk. So like I mentioned, we have a lot of audio listeners, so I'm not going to just show a bunch of photos, but I do want to read the blurb from Wikipedia about Atompunk because I think it's awesome. It gives us a ton to discuss and build upon, and it just highlights how popular this style really is. So I'm going to start my quote from Wikipedia now. Atompunk, which is also known as atomic punk, relates to the pre-digital period of 1945 to 1969, which includes mid-century modernism, the atomic, jet, and space ages, so 3 different names and different categorizations for this time period, communism, neo-Soviet styling, and early Cold War espionage. What?
All this, like Atompunk, communism, just like
it's a big influence.
I know, it just hit me out of nowhere.
It makes a lot of sense. I think me and Gurn's brains are so rotted that we just we suddenly heard just.
I just thought of that dog with the red hat, like that just popped into my brain. Just
So continuing with my quote, along with anti-communist rhetoric and Red Scare paranoia in the United States, British mod culture, underground cinema, Googie architecture, Sputnik and the space race, Silver Age comic books and superhero fiction, and the rise of the American military-industrial complex.
Oh, that's my favorite aesthetic, is the rise of the the American.
Well, but think about like
what's going on?
Chrome and the technology and
I know,
all that.
I'm just messing.
Quoting again, it says, its aesthetic tends towards populux and ray gun gothic, which describes a retrofuturistic vision of the world. Most science fiction of the period carried an aesthetic that influenced or inspired later Atompunk works. Some of these precursors to Atompunk include the 1950s science fiction films, it says, including but not limited to B movies. I don't really know what that means. B the letter, not
B. Oh, those are normally like lower budget, kind of like not necessarily blockbuster type deals.
Neat.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, like B-list horror movies are the
mom?
ones that are more like kind of schlocky and like you laugh at more than you're scared by kind of thing.
Interesting.
Camp, didn't you say that your mom really likes B movies?
Oh, yeah, no, my family loves B-list horror movies. So, like, my mom does. Gotcha. My brother finds new ones all the time. Like, they are big on it.
Interesting. Gotcha. Okay. They said the example is I was a teenage Frankenstein is what the example that they give.
I haven't seen that one personally, but yeah, it is a weird, just odd take on the Frankenstein story.
Also, I'm gonna give a warning, Gurdon. Don't just be like it's Lexi, because this next section is gonna be it's Lexi. So
okay, notes. It's Lexi.
So continuing with the quote about the precursors to Atompunk. So we talked about, and I got described what a B movie was, not the hit film BEE movie, but B, the letter movie. The Sean Connery era of James Bond, Dr. Strangelove, Star Trek, The Twilight Zone, The Outer Limits, The Avengers, which is not the comics. This was a TV show, apparently not related to Marvel Avengers. Early Doctor Who episodes, The Man from U.N.C.L.E., Batman, The Green Hornet, The Jetsons, Johnny Quest, Thunderbirds, Speed Racer, and some Silver Age comic books.
Let's see. The Man from U.N.C.L.E. is my cousin. Okay, thank you.
Wow, you got me. You got me there. Oh my goodness.
Wow.
So this kind of laid the ground, these sorts of things, and the rise of Populux and Raygun Gothic led to these types of media being made, thus influenced then the Atompunk style. So going back to quote, notable examples of Atompunk in popular media that have been released since the period, so since Atompunk started, include television series like Dexter's Laboratory, The Powerpuff Girls, Venture Bros, Archer, and the web series The Mercury Men. Comic books like Ignition City and Atomic Age. Films like Logan's Run, The Incredibles, The Iron Giant, Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, The Man from U.N.C.L.E., X-Men First Class, Men in Black 3. Video games like Destroy All Humans, We Happy Few, the Fallout series, Atomic Heart, and Invincible. And then books like Adam Christopher's novel, The Atomic Age. End quote.
Okay.
So, wow. That's a lot of stuff.
That is stacked.
That's a lot of popular stuff.
I was going to say, now that you mention it, it is... I just play and consume media like most people on the entire earth do. I didn't realize just how much things actually technically were that Atompunk until you laid it all out like that. Of like, yeah, I've seen Invincible. Like, I wouldn't have immediately thought Atompunk about that. Or like, even with Venture Bros, like I've seen a couple episodes of Venture Bros and stuff like that. Again, I wouldn't have put Atompunk into that. But then again, when I sit there and think about it, I'm like, oh wait, yeah, like that fits not perfectly, but like pretty dang close of like, oh dang. And then of course for the games, I'm like, oh yeah, like literally in Destroy All Humans, like, yeah, there's like all these 1950s cars and like all the spaceships are the old like flying saucer style that were huge in the 1950s and stuff like that.
Like
and so,
UFO looking types of
like
ships.
The very chrome spinning circle types that are just like, whoa, and stuff like that. So that is just, dang, until you, again, thank you for putting it into perspective, Lexi, because wow. So
that's why I read the whole thing, because I'm like, this is long, but I'm like, whoa, this makes a lot of sense why, like, I love the Powerpuff Girls. It's one of my favorite cartoons, like, ever. And I love the Incredibles, obviously. And so it was funny when I said to Gurdon, like, don't say this is Lexi, because, like, I love James Bond. I love the Twilight Zone. I love Batman, like, the Jetsons, like, all this stuff. And I'm like, it's all coming together. Maybe it's all Atompunk all the way down.
So true.
Lexi's nickname is now Atompunk. Lexi, parentheses, Atompunk, her last name. I just doxed her in the middle of the podcast.
Yo, let's go. Funny. Doxing for the bit
goodness.
is really funny.
It's really funny.
For those listening at home who are unsure, that is a joke.
What about you, Camp? Have you seen some of these things or played some of these games?
Yeah, Powerpuff Girls I did enjoy like a lot as a kid. I wasn't sure how I would feel about Atompunk because unfortunately, Lexi, I hate to ruin your day, but I'm not like a super big Fallout fan. Like I know why people like it, but I haven't really like fallen on top of it much.
But
hearing all the other stuff it's in, I fell out of Fallout.
He fell off.
No, but hearing the other stuff it's been in and kind of how versatile it can be with its, like, I guess not necessarily with its definition, but the ways it can be interpreted, like, because, you look at Fallout and you look at Powerpuff Girls and they look very different.
Yeah.
Same with, like, the Men in Black stuff as well. It's it is a very versatile aesthetic that does signal, what you said, like scientific innovation and the baggage that can come with that and the good things that can come from it as well. And it's a very interesting thing. I also haven't played Destroy All Humans, but I do know that if that falls under Atompunk, then that's really interesting. I like that.
Yeah.
I played that game a long time ago as a wee lad, and I think it's in my backlog right now. But yeah, I just remember you're the 1950s thing of they always had the gray aliens. At least that was always the big major threat when it came to.
They brought up B-list horror movies. I feel like Destroy All Humans is a B-list game.
Yeah, I mean it is though. They did a remaster. I know so much about video games. I'm such a nerd about it. But like they made a remaster / remake of it, and I think there's a DLC where they have a B-list movie DLC where you're like a B-list karate alien, and so
my goodness,
they just fully leaned into it of like, oh, we're not AAA, like we're just gonna have fun with it at this point. So
that's awesome. I love that.
Oh yeah,
it wasn't really surprising for me. I'm a big Brad Bird big Brad Bird nerd. I love The Incredibles, one of my favorite movies of all time. And The Iron Giant.
She even likes the second one, y'all.
I do. Yeah, the second one's fine. It's again. Is it amazing? No, the first one is amazing. The second one, it's fine. Like I can watch.
Second one is there. It exists.
There are some elements of the second one I really like, but then there's other ones where I'm like, what? I don't know.
Y'all missed the point. Yes.
Anyway, that was a giant tangent. But to talk about the style of Brad Bird is very much within this ray gun gothic style, and that comes out through The Iron Giant. That comes out through The Incredibles. The Incredibles, like hardcore, the entire aesthetic of that movie is very much the mid-century modern ray gun gothic sort of a thing. He also, interestingly enough, Brad Bird plug, he is doing a movie called Ray Gun that is about a private investigator. And I believe they have said that it comes out later this year on Netflix is what the rumor is. So be very, very interested to check that out because it is labeled as a neo-noir science fiction mystery film. Ooh. So that seems amazing. So plugging that.
Yeah.
If it ends up sucking, I'm sorry. I don't know any of the plot about it other than
Brad Bird. We know you're listening. Come on our podcast. Thank you.
Yeah. Brad Bird is really going to come on our podcast with almost 200 subscribers.
Yeah.
Yep.
We hit 200 subscribers. Let's just be real, okay, y'all? We hit it. All right.
Yeah.
If we hit 250, we'll message Brad Bird and ask him to come on the podcast.
Yeah. Our people will reach out to your people. Yeah.
But anyway, yes, I'm a huge Brad Bird fan, so that was really cool to see that. And I don't want to go on and on about all these different styles because there's a ton that could be mentioned, and I don't want to just talk about how it looks because it's tough for audio listeners. And also I think after we gave a lot of those examples, I think people can say, oh, okay, yeah, I have seen that. You know, I've seen Dexter's Laboratory or I've seen Venture Bros or
idiot. Yeah.
I watched The Incredibles or I play Fallout or whatever. Like a lot of people can probably relate to that. So I just want to talk a little bit more about how, like what these styles say and what they have to do with our views of the future. And to quote Fallout, they say that war never changes. However, the war itself might not change, but the war changes everything else around it. And the post-World War II movements that we see here included a lot of different views of the future, which I would argue are very heavily influenced by the war, nuclear energy, you know, the just shock of all the things that happened during that time. But before I get too heavy into that, I've got a game.
Whoa!
Game time. So,
Lexi, can I ask one question before game, though?
Yes.
Before game, do you believe that there was a major change that made people go from very optimistic to very anti-optimistic when it came to looking at the future?
Yes. And we will get into
That's
that.
all I wanted to ask. Thank you. Okay, just wanted to ask.
Cool.
So today's game is called How Could You Forget Punk, where you have to pick the correct punk subgenres of, that's a hard word, of retrofuturism. I'm going to give you 7 choices, and you guys have to tell me which three are real. Okay, so you only have to pick 3 out of these. Which 3 are real? out of the 7, okay?
Okay.
I will read them 2 to 3 times so that everybody at home can play along too. So we have electropunk, sandalpunk, terrapunk, clockpunk, solarpunk, hydropunk, stonepunk. Those are our 7 different punk types. So I'll read
That is
them
electropunk,
again.
sandalpunk.
Why are you reading them?
terrapunk.
You don't have them in front of
I
you.
wrote them down. I
Oh,
wanted to make
okay.
sure I wrote
All
them
right,
down.
I'll let him read them. I'll let him read them.
That's electropunk, sandalpunk, terrapunk, clockpunk, solarpunk, hydropunk, and stonepunk, correct?
That's correct.
Dang, I wrote that down quick. I'm awesome.
Well, I mean, they all have punk at the end, so as long
I
as
know,
you
I
get
only
the
had to write half of
prefix.
Which kind of punk are you?
All
Okay,
right, do we
so-
want to go like we each guess one? Or do we want to just do the full 3?
Well, I just
Like-
say make your guesses, write them down. I'll trust you guys to lock them in, and then
Okay.
I'll have you share.
Okay, yeah. I've written down my 3.
Okay.
I got two. I gotta try to figure out what I think my third one is.
I gotta know what my 3rd one is too.
We'll
I just
play
put one
some-
down, but I'm also
YOLO.
second guessing.
I got it. All right.
Okay.
Going all in.
All right.
Okay, all right.
I'll pick a number, and then whoever gets closer to my number can go first.
1.
Okay. No, I haven't even picked the number yet. Oh my
But now you
goodness.
thought of 1, so I won
Between
immediately.
1 and 100.
Oh, all right.
Fifth.
Can't do
6, 7.
6, 7. Okay.
it. I'll go with 1.
Okay. It was 69. So Camp gets to go first.
Oh no!
Let's go.
All right, Camp. What 3 do you think are real?
So I kept bouncing around a couple. I did have Clockpunk on my list, but Clockpunk just sounds kind of silly. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay.
And also Electropunk, I feel like would be too close to Cyberpunk. So I decided on 3, kind of using that criteria.
Okay.
And I'm gonna say that it's Sandalpunk, Solarpunk, and Hydropunk.
Okay. So you think Sandalpunk, Solarpunk,
Soldier punk.
Solarpunk, and Hydropunk. Those are your guesses?
Yes.
Cool. Okay, Gurdon. What were your
I
3?
almost chose the exact same ones as Camp. I'm gonna be just entirely
Okay.
honest.
All right.
I also chose Solar and Sandalpunk,
Okay.
but I almost also chose the other one that he chose, but I ended up choosing Electropunk just because I felt like maybe there's a chance that for whatever reason Electropunk might be real.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. You guys are tied. You both got
Oh.
2 correct.
Were they the same ones?
So, yes, they were actually.
Oh, let's go, Camp.
So,
okay. So now we know that it is not Electropunk, and then which one was Camp's?
Okay, so hold on. I have a tiebreaker for you guys.
Yeah,
once
that's
I
what I'm
tell
saying. We
you
can try to find
these.
the last one. Yeah.
So, Electropunk, Gurdon, you said that one. That is not real.
Okay.
But you guys both said Sandalpunk. That
Yes.
is real. Do you guys actually know what that is, or you just guessed?
I felt like it's
I'm
very,
assuming it has to.
both of us at the same exact
Oh, I'm
time
actually-
started and stopped.
We're both too considerate of each other. I think that it has to do with like beaches.
Yep,
like
exactly.
like sandalwood kind of type vibe. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So you guys both guessed like beach sort of influence.
That's kind of the vibe I get. Or at the very least something to do with sand and more like coastal type thing. I wouldn't know how to
Okay.
visualize it, but that's kind of what I lean towards.
Okay.
I was leaning much towards the exact, like basically Hawaiian / like I know there's more actual terms and stuff like that, but
Okay.
basically Hawaiian / more like beach bum type vibes, much more Maui inspired and stuff like that. So that would
That's
be my
fascinating. You guys are so wrong, but that's so interesting.
guess. Dang. Okay. rude.
Cool.
It actually is an influence by the Bronze and Iron Age. So sandals as in like Plato, Aristotle, like Rome. Gurdon, you're going to hate yourself. Assassin's Creed Odyssey is considered sandalpunk.
I have not played that game.
Really?
so,
Have you not? Oh my
no, I haven't.
gosh.
My backlog is vast.
As well as they consider God of War sandalpunk.
That's
as
a
well.
punk. Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
I
because
wouldn't
it's science fiction punk inspired by the Bronze and Iron Age. So, as well as the Disney movie Atlantis.
Wow,
is
sorry, I just
considered that.
realized that technically science fiction doesn't have to be like
Spacey?
super spacey. Yeah, sorry, my brain just made that thing of like, oh, I guess technically God of War could be it. Like, wow, sorry, my my brain just whoa. Sorry, continue.
You're good. And so then Camp, you said hydropunk. That one is incorrect. But you guys both got solar punk correct. That is a newer proposed science fiction derivative that focuses on the envisioning the future in light of climate change, pollution, things like that. So
yeah, that's what I thought it would be.
Environmentalism. Yeah.
Okay.
So
I imagine it was something like that. I'm gonna be honest. I only knew it was real because there's a song I like called Solar Punk.
Oh, okay.
So I was like, okay.
Well, that was
the word exists.
That was correct.
I know that.
So out of the 3 remaining options, I'm gonna allow you guys to lock in your answer.
I'm locking in stone for Neanderthal.
I'm gonna read them again for our audience so they can guess along with us. Okay. So we have terrapunk, clockpunk, and stonepunk are the 3 other remaining options.
Okay, well, Gurden is going with stone punk, so I want to do terrapunk.
You want to do?
I want to do terrapunk.
Watch us get it
I still
wrong
don't think clockpunk is real. I still don't.
Okay, so stonepunk for Gurden and terrapunk for Camp. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right, you guys are both wrong. Clockpunk is the one that's real.
No.
It's clockpunk.
What the hell is clockpunk?
So according to the Wikipedia, clockpunk, which is similar to steampunk.
That's just steampunk.
No, it's not. No, it's not. Similar to steampunk, but it includes retro-future technology, but portrays Renaissance-era science and tech based on clockwork gears and Da Vincian machinery designs.
Boo.
And you're also going to hate yourself, Gordon, because Assassin's Creed 2 is considered clockpunk.
Boo. That's just steampunk. Oh my gosh.
Nope. It's the Da Vinci of it all. It's the Da Vinci of it all.
It's Da Vinci. Oh my god. Da Vinci?
Me when I forget Da Vinci. Dang it. I thought I'm right with Camp. I entirely thought that would just fall under steampunk. Like,
so for some people, clockpunk is steampunk without steam, is what they say on the Wikipedia. Okay. Because the steam is not
clockpunk is such a weird. It's such a weird name to me because, like solar punk is like an attribute that you can like give things. Same with things like sandal or even like electro.
Hydro
you could
or electro,
apply that to electricity. Clock? Clock's not like a discrete. Like
Back
that's just
to the
what the
future?
thing is. That's a future.
That's so funny.
It's like steampunk, but they just tell really time. Like they just tell time really good.
Oh
Is that the?
It's steampunk without the steam. It makes sense when you think about it.
I mean, but I can't tell. Like, tell me if I'm wrong. If I'm along the wrong thought. Anytime that I ever think of steampunk, I think of very gears. I think of very large like contraptions and stuff like that.
But
That's what I think of too. I
powering
guess that's what I was going to say. I thought that must be the difference. Is where like I guess because like steampunk would be more central. Like stories that are steampunk would be more focused in the environment about how the steam is powering it. Whereas clockpunk, I guess, is.
It's the difference.
I don't know what it would be powered by. I guess it's not as important.
I guess it's the difference of technically if you have it, like Lexi keeps saying, she just keeps saying the word Da Vinci. Yes, Da Vinci. Lexi's going Da Vinci mode. Of the comparative difference of the Industrial Revolution, like of steampunk, like much more Industrial Revolution of top hats, of this, and this, compared to if you had it, again, just straight up, basically any time before the Industrial Revolution would almost feel clockpunk-esque because it would be very Renaissance into early colonial times until the Industrial Revolution, where it would then transform into steampunk if you tried to have it around anything like that, which again, I think is splitting hairs personally. And I understand Lexi, but I can understand the differentiator of like, these people in this thing right here, they're not wearing top hats. They're wearing tricorn hats. So it must be instead clockpunk. Like that must be the big difference of like, Lexi, let me ask you a question of, would Treasure Planet be clockpunk or would that be steampunk then usually? Like which would you?
I've never seen Treasure Planet. I'm sorry.
Because there's people in Treasure Planet that have tricorn hats. But I would think that it would be steampunk though, right? Like
let me just look it up.
Was the ship powered by steam?
That's
okay,
what I'm
so see
now. that's the differentiator here. Let's see.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying
to figure out. People on Reddit
out.
are talking about it. Let's see.
Oh boy,
I'm putting it on.
Well, the Redditors are probably right.
They've never been wrong.
Okay, yeah, they're fighting about it too. People are saying it's steampunk. Somebody says, but I believe steampunk in the 15th through 18th centuries is considered clockpunk by some. Yeah.
Damn. Okay.
What is it? Comment if you've seen Treasure Planet, because I haven't. If you've seen Treasure Planet, do you think it's steampunk or clockpunk? Fight in the comments.
I got it. You know what? One of our friends is online right now, and he's a huge Treasure Planet fan. I'm gonna message him, and then we're gonna update later and see what he says.
Make sure you direct him to what steampunk is and then what clockpunk is, so he can decide.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he's also like an artist type, so he might know those already. But I'll let him know.
Cool. I had never heard of like Lexi, or not Lexi. I guess none of us besides Lexi had heard of clockpunk before. So I
hadn't until I researched for this podcast.
Yeah, so they might not even know about clockpunk's existence.
But it makes sense to me. I'm somebody that like words matter, and so like for me, I'm like I appreciate the distinction because I do think there is a big distinction. But I could see how
it's
aesthetically
like if you have a bunch of clocks
similar.
and gears and shit, but they aren't powered by steam. Why would you call it steampunk? Why are you lying to me? You know,
do not lie.
You know,
do not steal.
So I sent him a message and I said, "Ayo, Treasure Planet, steampunk or clockpunk? Look them up if you're not sure. It's important." And he sent back, "I want to say definitely steampunk, but let me look into clockpunk real quick." And then a few minutes later, he said this, and I'll just read it verbatim. Yeah, steampunk. Clockpunk has more of a fantasy feel to it. It can definitely still be in the realm of sci-fi, but looking at Treasure Planet, it leans closer to the steampunk vibe. A good example is just the ship that they're on. You get into all the scenes that are in the guts of it. It gives more steam-powered mechanisms than clockwork."
Okay.
And I'm inclined to believe him because this dude, I think he literally watches Treasure Planet every year on his birthday. Or like some other big,
Okay, if the ship is steam-powered, yes, I would say that definitely counts.
We got an answer.
Well,
we
now
did
we
it.
know. Now we know.
And knowing is half the battle.
Okay, well, you guys ended up tying for the game, so I guess we'll just have to see in the next game.
Why do we do that? Of like, we will go, when Lexi makes a game, we'll get usually one or two, and we're immediately like, oh, duh, it's this one. And then we'll either get all the rest of them wrong, or like at the very last moment, one of us will get it right, and we're like, oh.
Me personally, I'm just amazed how we managed to tie, and then we did the tiebreaker, and we still tied.
I know, I don't have any more punks to give you. I didn't have anymore.
Oh no!
Pomegranate punk. Just a bunch of punks.
Oh my goodness, that's funny.
Oh gosh.
Okay, so getting back into the heavier part of the podcast, like I mentioned before we did the game, which was what retrofuturistic styles say about how people are feeling about the future, what their predictions are for the future. I think in general, retrofuturism had a spike in popularity within the last decade because it is more of a what-if version of the future. So in the year 2026, No. In the year 2026, we look back to the futuristic depictions that were created post-World War II through the 50s, 60s, even the 80s cyberpunk wave. And it paints a very different picture of the future that did come to fruition. I think that many people, and I would say myself included in this, are fascinated by the style of retrofuturism and what it means, because of what Canadian author Bruce McCall deems, quote, faux nostalgia. He says, quote, the nostalgia for a future that never happened. And that's from Wikipedia.
That's really, I've never heard the word for that before, but I've been hearing that kind of sentiment get passed around a lot recently. Like, especially with, I listen to a lot of like synthwave artists that take a lot of inspiration from like the 1980s and such. And a lot of their whole thing is kind of making you feel nostalgic for a time that you never really lived through or that you never properly experienced, if that makes sense. So faux nostalgia is a good way to say that. Yeah.
Yeah. Shout out Bruce McCall. That's a fantastic way to put that.
Can I make a quick thing? I saw this literally yesterday, and I want your all's opinion, and it's not going to be too much of a segue, but I saw people be nostalgic for an AI 1990s Frosted Flakes commercial, and
so it was a fake commercial that somebody made with AI.
It was. I don't even think technically it was a commercial. It was just a really crappy AI video of like use of the camera pointed at a table, like as in first person perspective of a person eating Frosted Flakes, but like everything just kind of had this 90s aesthetic to it of like and stuff like this. But again, people were like, wow, I'm so nostalgic for this. But then so many people were like, I'm nostalgic for this even though I wasn't alive in the 90s. Like, and I think that it's even with stuff like this, of course, AI made it gross and weird, but like, even when it's just a stupid AI Frosted Flakes commercial type thing where you're watching TV on a tube television and stuff like that, that people can still feel that faux nostalgia for basically anything as long as you can tie the emotion to it, right? So I just wanted to mention that of even recently as yesterday, there was an online discussion of, I wasn't even alive in the 90s and I felt very nostalgic for the idea of living in the 90s, right? So
yes. Then that's...
and I think it also helps as well because it's like when you see stuff with the shitty VHS filter over it,
that's
stuff
exactly
like that.
what it was,
It's like
yes.
your brain, but it's also like even if you weren't alive in the 90s, through like just seeing that stuff in passing and people's reactions to it, you can gather in your brain that this is from an older time period that's meant to be nostalgic, meant to be reminiscent of an older time, and then you would kind of get those feelings too. Yeah. Like I was born, like, we were all born around the same time roughly, and like I don't have like a lot of baked in nostalgia for like, really old like 1980s tapes or the music or anything like that. But they still make me nostalgic sometimes, even though I wasn't even alive in the 80s to really be fully immersed in the aesthetic all around me all the time.
And that's on media. Yeah. Media does that on purpose. I was not alive when the 1984 Ghostbusters film came out. I watched it for the first time a couple of years ago, and I love it so much. It feels very nostalgic, and I was not even alive for that. So I think that media does a really good job of creating this vision of what the 80s look like, what the 90s look like, even the big Y2K push that we've seen that I think is dying out a little bit. But, I'm like, I was a child in the 2000s, and like, there are some things that are nostalgic to me because I was a child. But I'm like, even like Britney Spears or boy bands, like I like some of that music, but I'm like, how is Backstreet Boys nostalgic for me? I don't like, they were on the radio when I was a kid, but I was not old enough to be in that demographic that was being targeted. And when I was younger, I don't think I could have named 2 Backstreet Boys songs. But now when I'm older, I'm like, oh man, this song is so nostalgic. And it's like, what, it's,
I almost wonder, I've been thinking about this recently too. I think when people say things like, they like miss this thing, or when they used to listen to something before they really understood or were in the demographic for it, and they were like, oh, I miss this or whatever. I feel like it's less about you missing the thing and more about you missing the time that it was. Yeah. Like similar to the episode we did when we talked about like older social media sites. It's like, it's being nostalgic for that sort of thing. It's like the media is kind of a conduit for it, but at the end of the day, it is kind of the feeling that you're after, which I guess in that case, like it makes sense for the Backstreet Boys, but I also wonder for people who were like, I wasn't even alive when VHSs were a thing. I feel like that wouldn't really apply to them. Yeah. So I'm not sure. I'm getting philosophical.
When you were talking about nostalgia and people just wanting to go back to that experience or feeling that thing that you were mentioning of like, when it comes to shows and games and movies and stuff like that, of the full aesthetic of, again, being a huge gaming nerd, is that a bunch of people around my age are starting to just not play video games as much, I've noticed. Because they're like, I can't get that feeling like, man, I wish I could just go back and play Call of Duty, like come home from school and play Call of Duty or do this thing and like all of that, of the feeling of you don't want the game to take you back, or you don't want the aesthetic or the visuals or the movies of like, I want to be back in the 80s. Like, no, you just want to be a kid. Like, you don't want the responsibilities of, hey, I have to do a 9 to 5 or I don't eat. I want to be able to just come home, relax and hang out with my friends and eat Doritos, or sit there and watch a movie and have some popcorn with my friends or my family. Like, that is what so many people I feel like are not getting whenever they're like, yeah, video games just aren't that fun, or yeah, movies these days just aren't that interesting anymore. Like, no, you just have this sense of like, you just want to go back to the time where you could sit there and watch 5 movies in a day, or do a 12-hour Counter-Strike session and just live your life, basically. Like, you don't want you don't want the responsibilities of being an adult. You just want to go back to the time of the games haven't changed, you've changed, basically, or the movies haven't changed and stuff like that. You have changed in that way. So,
well, I will say that I think it's a 2-part. I think that is a huge part of it, but I do think that it does allow us to see what has changed, and I think that there are times times where people could say, hey, this has really changed. And I think that it was highlighted in our previous episode, or maybe 2 episodes ago, where we talked about older social media. And it's like, social media did change. And the way that they have, turned into this big consumer money-making machine, that has changed. So somebody being like, man, I wish I could go back to the days of MySpace where like my friends would write on my wall or my page or whatever. Like, I do think that there is some truth to that of you miss the times when it was like, hey, social media was fun, or there was some whimsy or some, something to this that, yes, that plays into the element of, when you were a kid or you were younger and you had time to do that.
You're a kid, you're a squid.
But I think it's also kind of, we've seen a push of a trend to people that collect physical media and they want a physical media piece of everything. And that is also a dual-edged sword, because on one hand, it's people reacting to the thing of, well, hey, these companies have said we don't even own this thing if we buy it. So I want to try to push back against that and actually go buy a VHS or a DVD or a Blu-ray or my game disc because I want to actually feel like I'm owning it. And that's a true part of it, but it's also a thing of, it's because physical media is trendy. That's what they're pushing for overconsumption. They're pushing that you have to collect all this stuff. You need to buy this physically, because if you don't,
you need a steelbook. You really need a steelbook.
You really need this video game. You really need this figure. You really need this, this thing. And so again, it's a multifaceted issue where on one hand, we have the companies and the media going, oh, hey, we can make more money off this. But then there is the flip side that's the positive of, we as the consumers want to rebel and say, well, when we buy this, we want to own it. And I think that actually applies to the nostalgia and the retrofuturism discussion as well.
It's very funny. One more quick thing. Again, I actually had a lot of points basically along that exact same line as well, Lexi, of people have been sharing after another gaming thing. Gears of War E-Day they just had the latest gameplay trailer and this and this and this. And people on gaming forums were sharing a bunch of things about like, wow, the Gears of War trailers back in the day, like they just hit different. And again, like you said as well, of like, well, yeah, it is, of course, it hits different because, you were younger then and this, and this. But then again, you can watch it and you can actually feel this kind of like, oh, wow, yeah, there was a lot of effort and a lot of love and care put into these things. But then somebody also pointed out, to go along with what Lexi said, of like, yeah, but also every commercial wasn't trying to get you to pre-order the deluxe version or the ultimate premium edition that comes with additional skins and you can play 3 days early and this, and this. Like, it was just a commercial for the game.
Right.
And even the way that games and films and stuff are promoted now, of like, again, with movies, a lot of the promotional things are, of course, you have trailers, but it is also for, hey, do you want this? Do you want the Backrooms popcorn bucket? Do you want this additional poster? Do you want this thing to go along with the movie and not just, hey, go see the movie even?
Right.
And so, yes, there is things that you could say of like, well, things are different now because, they have to promote differently and they had to advertise differently as well. But I did really want to point out that I was like, oh, wow, yeah, people aren't joking that whenever you watch the old Gears of War trailers, it was literally, hey, Gears of War, play this game. Now it's, hey, pre-order this game and you can get the deluxe super cool skin that glows in the dark and shit like that. So I just wanted to point that out on top of it too.
That all ties together, because the next point that I had on my outline is that one of the things I think that makes retrofuturism so popular, especially in these times, is the idea of a future that actually has progress and contains optimism. And it was highlighted in this blog spot that I found.
What's that like? I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I know. I couldn't find the author of this, but I will link it. It's a blog spot page about retrofuturism. But basically this person says that retrofuturism, quote, serves as cultural critique rather than mere stylistic preference. So I thought that was interesting. And they also point out, quote, retrofuturism frames the future as cyclical rather than linear.
Okay.
That also was very interesting to me, because I think this is why we tend to see a lot of analog technologies present in retrofuturist media and depictions, and like styles, because it's this idea that like the future still comes back around, right? This whole thing is cyclical, so that, even though our technologies may have advanced or improved or whatever, there are still remnants of what it started out as, or people going back. Like we've seen this a fantastic example of right now of like the people that have gone back to vinyl, people that have record players, have, collect vinyl, all this stuff. I mean, I have some, a lot of people that I know that are in my age range also have some. And it's funny because people like my parents who grew up in the, vinyl and then cassette tapes and things like that, they're like, why do you guys want these?
Like vinyl.
Why are you so into vinyl? Like, it sucked. Like, it was, it's much better quality. And if you go onto YouTube and you type in your song, like, surely you're getting better quality from that. And so it's very interesting how we progress in a lot of ways. And then in some ways we go back and we're like, oh, but we actually kind of like that other thing. So,
yeah. It's like I also know that my mom's also the same way. Like, she doesn't quite understand it. My dad does, but it's also like whenever I go places sometimes with my it's not a Polaroid camera, but it's one of those like instant film cameras. I definitely prefer taking those whenever I go to like longer trips or whatever. And she's just like, "Oh, why would you do like that? Like, your phone camera's better. You can like store a lot more." And I'm like, for me, my mindset is like, yeah, I could take like 1,000 photos on my phone that will all look the same and that I'll never bother to go through and then just delete one day in a massive sweep.
Right.
Or I take it on like film. It's something that physically exists that I can hold on to in the real world. It's like a freaking $1 per piece of film for this thing.
Yeah.
So I am putting that financial thing towards it as well. And just the fact that I takes up physical space and it's like proof that I was there when this thing happened. It's not just like a digital recreation of it.
It's intentional.
Although I guess that like film was just like an analog recreation if you want to get super technical, but
right.
You know what I mean.
But it's about being intentional with it.
Basically, yeah. It is being very intentional with like kind of the memories that you want to keep, and that kind of helps strengthen them in my mind at least. Because if I take a bunch of photos on my cell phone, then I might look at it once and be like, huh, cool, and then that's it. But I have a box of like photos and stuff that I'll sift through sometimes, and it feels good, especially like, like if I go on vacation somewhere and I want to take a look back at those, or like if I'm with someone who I really love and care about and I want to look back at those. Like it's just a better feeling than just swiping on your death scroll box.
Right. And going along with that idea of the cyclical nature of things, and I love that you pointed out the, intentionality of that too. When I mentioned earlier about the goofy Fallout meme, but, the war never changes, but war itself changes everything else around
goofy
it.
Meme.
Yeah, I think when it comes to Atompunk, I think that people were equally terrified and fascinated at the idea of nuclear energy, because on one hand, we got the atomic bomb. And we all know how that transpired. We even talked about it in an episode. But it also highlighted how powerful nuclear energy is just in general. A lot of people consider the atomic age the first big leap in technology since the Industrial Revolution. So that in itself is like, wow, everything is going to change around that. And I think a lot of people were terrified of the future with nuclear war and what that could be used for evil purposes, basically. But there were a lot of other people who saw it as an opportunity to take it and make something powerful and use that powerful force for good. And it was that technological jump that gave us the field of nuclear medicine, which is huge, as well as food irradiation, which is a fantastic advancement as far as being able to process our food in a way that we're killing spoilage, we are extending shelf life. And I would say that these two advancements are massive. And I'm sure there's a ton more. I don't want to spend 5 hours on that. But unfortunately, we live in 2026, so we know what the ending of the story is for nuclear advancements, and that people's visions of that did not stay positive. And there are many people who are afraid of nuclear energy to this day, even though they were not alive during the time of the atomic bomb, but maybe they were alive during Chernobyl. Maybe they have seen some of those things. And so we take this example of something that was absolutely horrible, and 15 gajillion things went wrong for Chernobyl to even happen. But it really scared people. And so we have, in a way, taken a huge step back on potentially where we could be had we regulated nuclear energy and, done more positive things with it. And it's understandable that people are afraid, but it also stems from a lot of misinformation, kind of like I mentioned. And so that cyclical nature of, people being very hopeful and then people being depressed and then people being very hopeful and people being depressed, like that, I think that is really the future cycle that we're stuck in. And so I think that's why I think we're in one of those times where people are very depressed about the future. And so they look back to these retrofuturistic ideas and they're like, oh my gosh, wow, that's so wild. And I think the outgrowth...
If you want proof that we're in the middle of a depressive cycle for the future, literally listen to any episode where we talk about past things, and then we normally half the time we end up in a conversation like this, but it's a good conversation to have,
right? And on that note, the outgrowth of the atomic age led to the more cyberpunk vision of the 1980s future, and furthermore, it led to a dystopian way of looking at the future. It's very interesting because as it relates to games, again, we were watching Summer Game Fest that just happened a couple weeks ago, and maybe
we're
even just a week ago.
Now.
We're gamers here.
Oh yeah, we're gamers here.
All of the games that feature like a dystopian view of the future and just kind of how sad those were. Obviously, they make for good games because they're very adventure filled, and of course, if the world sucks that you're playing in, then you're going to encounter enemies and have challenges and stuff. So it kind of makes sense why it's not just like happy rainbow flying car land. But
Hello
I'm like,
Kitty
wow,
Island Adventure,
Yeah, I'm like, wow. The future is sad right now. As
World's
far
so
as
sad,
what people
bros.
are. Yeah, true. Bo Burnham was so right. The world's so sad, bros.
Dude.
So
predicted the future.
Oh my gosh, Bostradamus.
Whoa.
But to wrap up my long-winded rant, I think that's why people find comfort in retrofuturism and in the Atompunk sort of age, because even though the designs, in my opinion, are amazing, they look very stylistically cool. I think it gives that vision of like hopeful future of, oh my gosh, we'll have so much more time to spend with our families because we'll have robots and we'll have, the Jetsons, we'll have a robot maid that cleans our house. So we don't have to clean our house and we can spend more time doing fun things and, flying in our cars. We can get there faster and, things of that. It's like, oh yeah, that's really cool. Like, let's ignore a lot of the racist ideas that were going on during the time for now, because there was a lot of that still. But the overall idea is that, it's going to improve people's lives. They will have more time to spend on hobbies and family and community than doing their chores or filling up their car with gas and things like that. And I think I just wanted to talk about that, and specifically Atompunk, because I find it really fascinating. And I also wanted to share with you guys, I don't know why, but I guess I'm just obsessed with atoms. I remember that I checked out every book in my elementary school library that had to deal with atoms in like 4th or 5th grade, because I just was obsessed with reading about like actual like atomic structure, like atoms. And I remember even my high school chemistry teacher, she was like, are you gonna go study chemistry? And I was like, no.
Why?
And I was flattered by that, but my brain just doesn't work well enough for me to comprehend all of that.
Lexi could have been a nuclear scientist, is what we're saying right now.
No, I don't have enough brain cells for that, and I also am way too anxious for that. So
I'm the same way. Chemistry is so weird. It's like you can just add like one more of something. Like H2O is like what you need to survive, and then H2O2, if you drink it, you fizz your insides up and die. Like I don't know. It's
it's
modern day witchcraft, and it scares me. I don't like it. I don't. Nile Red is a wizard. That's all I know.
I was gonna ask if you guys like chemistry, so I'm really glad that you said that, Camp, because you were like, nah, that's just scary.
Oh yeah, nah. I mean, I was decent enough at it in like really basic level high school, but it's not my bread and butter. I don't know how chemistry works intuitively.
Right.
It's odd.
I don't even really remember taking a chemistry class. That might have been just because I was dumb or something like that.
Well, maybe.
Or maybe
if it was like my
requirements
school,
were different, potentially.
Yeah, well, school requirements might be different, and I also know back in grade 9, which is when I took it, it was actually a combination of like all of the 3 major ones. So they were physics, chemistry, and biology. Physics ended up being like, I took more in physics. I actually really like physics. Chemistry I sucked at. Biology I was even worse at. So that's like...
Yeah.
where that falls.
I think I remember having to do stuff, of course, with the periodic table and a couple things of like, what are these reactions that you can do? Like, that is about as much as I remember about
Baking
chemistry.
soda volcano.
Yeah. No, we didn't even actually do that. Like, that's what I'm saying. I was like, I don't know if maybe my school was just like, these things can react, therefore chemistry, and like just said it. But that also might have been the semester where
Might have been when you
really,
had a heart attack. Yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah, probably.
Gerd and lore. Yeah, I had a heart attack when I was in like junior year of high school.
Yeah,
and
not a joke.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Well, did you guys have any topic that you liked so much that you would have checked out every book in your school library about it? Or is that just a me thing?
That might be a you thing, unfortunately.
Okay.
That's called a hyperfixation, Lexi.
I had a sinking feeling that was just a me thing. So
I remember there was like a series of books that were just basically about like this like knight and / like ranger dude that was like fantasy stuff that I was like, whoa, my school has these? Okay. And I checked them out, but like that's about it. I don't really
just
remember.
a book series though that you enjoyed.
Yeah.
Okay. That's normal. That's normal.
Yeah. That's about it for me. So, Lexi, I think you were just the Atom girl.
Yeah, right. Oh, my middle name is Atompunk, so that makes sense.
Oh,
I'm fulfilling the prophecy.
Yeah.
Lexi Atompunk.
It's in your DNA.
Right. Dino DNA.
Oh my God.
Atom DNA.
Adam.
Yeah, that's pretty much all that I have for retrofuturism. I didn't want to dive too incredibly deep into every subgenre and things like that, but just kind of scrape the surface. But I hope that the listeners enjoyed this random tangent. And do you guys have any closing thoughts on retrofuturism?
What do you think the next punk is going to be? That's my question.
Oh,
not just for you, but for the audience at home. Like, if you could make the next punk, like you get to choose and design the next
like Autopunk, like AI.
Yeah, like
artificial punk.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Artifice punk.
Yeah,
that could work for an AI terrible feature.
I mean, what's another?
That's why we're going.
Like the AI companions or whatever. Like,
oh God,
yeah.
I used to think AI
punk.
companions would be so sick, and then everything just in the last 3 years has just been like.
Now everything wants to be an AI companion. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It's so clean. It's like a clingy ex-partner or something where it's like, hey, can you please stop? Oh my gosh.
Very quick side tangent with that before we actually end the episode. Lexi and I had to turn off a thing in our house because
the Amazon device.
Yeah, tell it very quickly, Lexi, because you actually remember much better than I do.
have an Amazon device. I'm not going to say it out loud in case anybody's listening out loud, and I don't want to terrorize them. And they basically pushed the plus AI filled version on us like one day. They didn't even ask. They just did it. And the device is like, I'm equipped with AI now and I can help you. And I'm like, oh no. And so I was talking literally about also lore. Our wedding is coming up, Gurdon and I.
Between this episode and next episode, we'll be married.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. But I was talking about like some like little electric candle or battery powered candles on the table or something. And I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah. Like the little candle is going to go in a little holder thingy. And the Amazon device goes, what are you going to do with those candle holder thingies? And I'm like, excuse me?
The shit out of us.
So I had to look up how to disable that shit real quick. And thankfully I disabled it and it's back to its normal, not as much AI filled. I'm sure there's still some, but
now it just turns on a light.
Probably.
That's about
yeah,
as much
now
as
it
we
just
use it for.
turns on a lamp
Good.
and tells me the weather warnings. So, and that's the way I like it.
The shit out of us, dude.
Yeah, I'm like, what? Why were you listening? I did not say your name. I did not ask you.
It's like how a tornado siren works when there's like rain coming in. It'll just randomly turn on, be like, there is rain.
Oh, no,
On
it'll just
the
say,
way.
like, I have a notification, and then I'll ask it, and then it'll say, severe thunderstorm warning has been issued for your area. So,
Okay, I mean, that's better.
yeah, it's
That's not
actually
as bad.
helpful. That's actually helpful because it'll tell
It's
me,
connected
like,
to
hey,
one of our lamps. Like that's
Yeah.
the main use for myself is
Oh,
to be like, all
okay.
right, turn on this lamp. It'll be like, okay, so I don't have to go over and turn it off or on.
Yeah,
so
that's
my
really
main
nice.
use case.
Yeah.
But you know who else is the light of our life? Our patrons over on Patreon.com.
Jesus Christ! Oh.
It's not that kind of episode. Over on Cam's Patreon and Gurdon's Patreon, y'all make it possible for us to ramble about our dystopian views of the future and our hyperfixations on atoms. So, thank you so
and
much.
thank you for 200 subscribers on YouTube.
Are we at 200? For real? For
I
real?
looked I looked yesterday. We might have dropped back down, but still,
Oh my
at one moment.
gosh.
Oh, that'd be really funny if we did. Hold on. Let me see.
I'm gonna unsubscribe real
I'm
quick.
nervous. No.
Yo, same.
Remember,
Let's go.
if we hit 250,
Thank you for
we'll
198
message
subscribers.
Brad Bird and ask him to come on.
Oh, we
Have
are at 200. Sick.
Yay!
Okay.
So
Let's go.
Thank you all
Have
so
his
much.
people reach out to our people.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll work something out. We'll talk behind the scenes.
Thank y'all so much, all of you guys who listen on audio formats, all of you guys who listen over here, guys, gals, and non-binary pals, to be specific, over here on YouTube as well. Thank you for all your lovely comments, your suggestions. Like I said, we do write those down. Today was not recommended by anybody, but it was a inspiration from Camp Mom's recommendation on the last episode. So you could be in an episode. Your topic could be in an episode.
And if you're Brad
Whoa.
Bird, if you're Brad Bird, you can also be on an
You
episode.
could be on an episode.
Just reach out.
So thank you so much.
not desperate.
And always remember to retro your future.
So true.
Cyberpunk. Always punk your cyber or whatever. Cyber your punk.
Always punk the cybers.
Always
Sandal
make
your
sure your
solars.
punk is steamed.
If it's hot out, make sure you wear your sandal, punk.
Sun's out, guns out, flex on them haters. All right.
Woo!